Well, dang, we just have a line of videos this weekend, don't we? Hey guys, my name is Dave, and welcome to another video. Now, when I said that, first of all, I was referring to the fact that yesterday's Trash Bazooka Binge episode was actually a clipped version of last week's stream, which I have completely removed from YouTube. There was just way too much rage, and I wanted to narrow down. Plus, it gives me a little bit of a break from that, especially after last week, which I'm not going to go into. But that's not what this video is about today. Today's video, I actually want to bring up a topic that I made a point to consistently talk about every year, annually. Over the course of the past 5 years, I have successfully done that. Aside from this year. Last month was when I was supposed to do that. However, because of the move into this great place, I do legitimately think it's great, by the way. I have fantastic roommates who tolerate me more than I expected. My friend Aaron actually lives 2 floors below me, so that's convenient. But lastly, even with the move happening, even with that done, my grandfather's passing happened not too long after that. And I was taken quite aback by it. I don't know if that's the right phrasing. But, and a lot of you pointed out that I looked very drunk in the video. Don't worry, I wasn't. I haven't drank in, I don't even remember. It's been a while. There was a point where I have drunk in the past, but that wasn't it. I do appreciate all the comments, by the way, but those comments reminded me, crap, I hadn't made blank video yet. The point of said video was to reach out to anybody who needed to hear it and talk about the fact that there's always someone there. Recently, I've been going through, not personally myself, but I have been going through a lot of scenarios where I've noticed a lot of people have needed either a helping hand, a comforting hug, comforting words. Realistically, this has been happening more and more frequently as time goes on, which is it's interesting to me, but what's even more so is that they're all things that, in a way, one way or the other, I can relate to. Maybe not directly, but I understand the pain. That kind of brought me to the idea of maybe I should make that video now before I forget the whole "you're not alone" thing. I'm not going to say who the individuals were or what they were going through. That's extremely confidential and only for them to say. One of them I treat like a little sister, where the other I treat actually I treat both of them like little sisters since I'm older than both. But helping these 2 individuals out reminded me, in a way, of who I was. For a long period of time, I actually completely phased out who I was as a person and what I was meant to be, or at least how I was meant to be. And when that happened, I completely spaced out this video for that. But that was then, this is now. And with these examples presented, I will reiterate, no one is ever alone. In no circumstance whatsoever. A lot of people may think it, and they'll break down because of it. especially those who have medical depression or medical anxiety. Those individuals especially have a tendency to do so, and it hurts to see. Recently, I figured this out about myself. I mean, excuse me, still waking up on my end. But I've known the traits I've known for a while, but I recently found that I am actually an empath, or empathic, depending on how you pronounce it. In other words, I can usually feel the pain of another individual. I can feel the love that another can feel, but I usually emphasize it a little bit more than the average Joe. Because of this, kind of hard for me to not notice when something's wrong. That also means I can usually tell when things are getting better. When I started to notice that a lot of individuals would be very down in a way, where the individuals who I'm directing this video towards originally, just saying that you're not alone. I know for a fact sometimes that's not enough. When I made the first day of grief video, I wonder, is that still up? I have YouTube in front of me, by the way. Excuse me. Yeah, day 1 of grief. That was intended to be like a 5-day thing. Each day representing the different stages of grief. You know, depression, anxiety, DABDA, I guess. Depression, anxiety, bargaining, or not anxiety. I think I get. Hold on. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. There we go. Took me a moment to remember that, even though I've talked about it on this channel. My original idea was to go through a certain number of days of each of those feelings. But the fact of the matter was, not long after the funeral that I had attended to, kind of, there was a lot going on at the time. I did attend, yes, but simultaneously things were going on. I'm so sorry. It takes me quite a few yawns to fully wake up. But originally my plan was to do, like I said, multiple days for multiple videos for each of the stages, but my brain for some reason hopped from denial to acceptance like that, almost. Especially after the funeral. I know several people who have actually lost a grandparent or a family member as close as my grandfather was to me. And it was tough. I can officially say that I know how another individual who has lost a grandparent feels, especially when they're close to them. I can actually think of a few very good examples of this, but for confidential reasons, I'm not going to bring them up. or I'm not going to say the person themselves, but one of the examples lost their grandmother when they were very young. And they've had a spiritual attachment to them since, in a way. Because of that, the day of their death would bypass, and they would feel distraught. Up until recently, I'll admit I couldn't really relate to that, but after, let's see, January 9th, I believe, because the day one of grief was the day that I found out, when that video was made, it was the same day that I found out that my grandfather had passed away. January 9th is when I found that out. And it was tough. It was really tough. As of that day, I can officially say I know how this individual who I was talking about feels. But it also allows me, as destroyingly depressing as that is, it's also humbling. Because it allows me to be able to relate to those who have lost a loved one in the same way. That connection never leaves. In a way, I can still feel my grandfather's spirit nearby. Now, whether you're a believer of, whether you're an atheist or Mormon / LDS, it really depends on how you determine your phrasing. I only know that out of research and personal experience and all this other stuff that I interests of my own, or Catholics, or if you're Jewish, or whatever you may be. I mean, I'm not going to go down the list of every single religion, but I guess just for the sake of one more sentence, I was going to say it anyway. Or maybe you're Buddhist. I don't know. These are the main ones that come to my mind when I think religion, by the way. That's why I say that. Anyway, regardless of what religion you believe, or maybe I don't know, maybe you're non-religious and you believe certain other things. Well, personally, I guess since it's brought up, for me, I'm in that weird blurred line. I do have a technical religion, but I go off of my own morals, and I go off of my own beliefs. I don't have a religious belief. I've said it before, I don't like that phrase. But that throws off the topic. Regardless of what you believe. Whether you believe spirits are there or not. If it's an energy you believe in instead, or whatever it may be. The fact of the matter is, even with him gone, I can still feel him nearby sometimes. This has happened to some people that I know too, with the people that they were deceased with. And admittedly, being an empath, I can feel the energy of the person nearby, but that's about it. And not knowing how this individual felt when I was talking with them, it felt odd, to say the least. I don't think that's the word I want to use, but it's the best word I can think of off the fly. But now that I have experienced, not the exact thing that this person experienced, it was more forced on their end, whereas more genetic, I'd say, that caused my grandfather to pass away. So there is that difference, but a death is still a death. And that relation is something, that's why I said it was humbling, because to me, as down as it makes me feel to think about, I am happy to a specific degree that it happened for the sole purpose that it allows me to be able to reach out to anybody. So let me do that now for this video. I have created a line of examples and a line of thoughts, but the core of this video is this. I know this from personal experience. Whether you have lost someone or you're going through a really rough time because of like work or a breakup or divorce, depending on the person, or maybe you're trying to go through some mental instabilities and you're trying to stabilize yourself. Wherever it may be. No, you're never alone. There have been times, I'm sure, where some people have thought it. I've actually been in that mind before. 3 times, I believe. To be more exact. 4 at most. 3 or 4 times. I'm not sure which. I would have to think about it, and I really don't want to do that. But I've been in those shoes before. I know what it feels like to have the mentality of feeling alone, even when you're not. It hurts a lot. And I know that. I'm acknowledging this while saying what I am because I know there are probably some people out there who will see this and go, yes, I am. You don't know how I feel. You're right. I don't know. Not directly. But I've experienced enough to where at least I can relate. Sometimes that's all you need to look for. Just someone to relate. That's why I gave all the examples I did at the start of this. They were scattered examples, sure, and I could probably give more in the future, which I'll probably do. But I guess the whole purpose behind giving the examples in the first place was just to let whoever may see this and need to see this, it's just to let you know that you're not alone. You're not on your own. Regardless of what the situation may be. It's possible you got, any of you who may need to see this, it's possible that you may feel that way at times. I know I have. But when push comes to shove, there will always be at least one person there. Maybe not in the way you'd expect, but there's always going to at least be one. Sometimes you just have to look in the strangest of places at times. For me, every single time it was my dad. With sometimes an additional, well, my dad and my mom. Sometimes with an additional person, but for another individual it could be a boyfriend or girlfriend, depending on who the person is and what they're into. Or it could be just a simple peer. In my case, if that was the case, it'd probably be Aaron. I've related to a lot of things with them before. We've had conversations where we've been sympathetic about each other's opinions and went, yeah, but blank. But we've always respected each other's thoughts anyway. Sometimes that on its own can actually do a lot. Just the respect of your own thoughts. Because sometimes the lack thereof could be what causes that feeling of loneliness and disregard. I know. I've been there. But I'm not here to look for a pity party. I'm just trying to give examples for relatability. I guess the point of what I'm trying to get at here is just that no matter what happens, just remember, for any of you who need to see this or hear this, you're not alone. There will always be at least one person who can relate, sometimes even comfort. Sometimes more. Maybe it's just something you haven't noticed yet or haven't seen. I don't know. But either way, when push comes to shove, just remember, you're never alone. Don't ever try to convince yourself of that. This comes from someone who probably needed to take his own advice on the day he was supposed to upload this, but time has passed and I've understood that. But any of you who need to hear this, remember that as well. Admittedly, I realized this with two things: my parents, my friends, and you guys. The community that has been built up over time. A community that I am genuinely very grateful for. With that being said, though, I'm going to leave this video here. Just remember the words that were said, and if ever needs be, reach out. Sometimes it could be to someone that you wouldn't expect, or maybe it's to someone that you know will listen. But if you ever feel that way, just reach out. I neglected that at a point and I regretted it. Luckily, the person who I had neglected to reach out to at the time was a very understanding person. But this was about a year ago, if not more. I don't know. It's been a while. Anyway, don't follow in my footsteps and reach out to someone when needed. You won't regret it. That being said, yeah, gonna leave this here. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have anything to add that wasn't said on here, why not say it in the comments below? I really do enjoy reading the comments that you guys leave sometimes, so thank you for that. Whether it's a simple hi, like recent video where Allison Perez and Atari Loftus both left those. Great people, great friends of mine to great degrees. Or maybe it could be something just obscure and out of the blue. But either way, yeah, I always read them and I always like looking through them. Just if you have anything to add to what has been said today, why not add it in the comments below? I'd like to hear what you guys have to say, or what you guys would like to say on this front. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you all later. Right, it's Sunday. I forgot what day it was, since this is being recorded a week in advance. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.